Good afternoon and welcome back to another episode of the Behind the Leazes podcast, the official podcast for Newcastle United on the Tyne and Weir network. Hello, once again, it's another week of depression, of sorrow, and another week of just being a sad bunch of Newcastle fans. We've got Adam, we've got Rob, who both, I believe, attended the away game yesterday, where they saw Cristiano Ronaldo bag a couple of goals, Jesse Lingard come back and score a goal. And then who's the third goal scorer? Was it Bruno Fernandes?
Yeah.
So I think a bit of an interesting one. Definitely a lot to talk about here. Of course, Man United winning 4-1. First and foremost, guys, how you doing? Rob, I'll start with you. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. As you said, I was at the game yesterday, so it was a long day. It's never fun driving home. But I drove in the end. That was the thing, because the trains were crazy. I think they tried to book everything in Manchester on the same day. There was a festival on. They were meant to have the cricket on that got cancelled. And then it was Great North Run on the way back. So it was quite a journey, but it's made even worse when you lose. So yeah, I'm doing all right. As I say, a bit tired for a Sunday, but just been having a bit of a chill day, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just what you want. The Great North Run's on today, like you said. It's Park Life Festival that's on in Manchester at the minute. My girlfriend's there, enjoying it, like, you know, Stormzy and Dave and KSI and all those people. Not my kind of music, but you know, it's a very popular festival in Manchester. Obviously, I live in Manchester at the minute. You guys were in my neck of the woods technically yesterday, but I was actually in Newcastle. I've been in Newcastle this past weekend. I met up with Andy, who isn't here today, and of course Adam as well, earlier in the week. But yeah, Adam, how are you doing as well? You travelled down, you got the bus, didn't you? And then you went back with Rob afterwards?
Yeah, Bob, so just a lift Rob. But yeah, in terms of the match though, yeah, we're always going to lose against Man United. It was obvious Ronaldo's debut. It's always going to be an impossible match. But yeah, I've said this before, Man U for me is the best away game in the Premier League. I love going down to Old Trafford. I mean, yeah, obviously a great laugh yesterday. The videos have done well at least, so I'm going to get my money back. But yeah, it's just one of those. Really, just got to take it on the chin, be ready for the Leeds match.
And you said get your money back there. Is that YouTube revenue coming through?
Yeah.
Fair play to you. I want to, before talking about any of the negatives or anything like that, there might not be very many of them, but I'd like to talk about the positives. So I'll start with Adam. What sort of positive things did you see coming out of that game against Man United?
Well, obviously, Liam, as you said before the stream, we didn't watch the game yesterday. We actually played quite well in the game. 4-1 was not the scoreline it should have been yesterday. Newcastle played well and competed with Man U for the full match, essentially. I mean, the only time Man U really got onto us was when they scored the second goal, because afterwards our heads dropped and it was just, the game was done by that point. But Newcastle in the first half were really good. There's what my only problem with the team is like how defense people can sort of keep Ronaldo spaced in, but yeah, against the likes of Southampton, I mean, we draw against those sort of attacks, but Ronaldo didn't get a sniff of the ball the first half until he scored because the defence closed him down. He had to force the ball out to the midfield every single time. And I mean, the goalkeeper mistake on Woodman cost in the first half because, I mean, no would have been the first score, but once you go 1-0 down to Man U at half time, I mean, Man U have never lost a game at Old Trafford and win the half time, so I mean, what chance have we got? But they came out, got the equaliser, but again, bad defending, bad goalkeeping cost for the second one, and the game was done at that point.
And Rob, coming to you next as well, you saw the game firsthand at Old Trafford. What sort of positives could you take out of that performance?
Well, again, like Adam said, I thought we did play well. I mean, they had more the ball, they had more chances in the first half, but generally we were working hard. You know, if we played the way we did this weekend against Manchester United, against the teams we've played so far this season, like Southampton, who we drew with, Aston Villa, who got beat by, obviously West Ham, we'll let a few in against them as well. If we'd played the way we did against Manchester United, we could have potentially got results. And if we play that way every game for the rest of the season, I actually think we'll be all right. The problem is it takes a game like that to get our players G'd up for it. And I don't know why. It seems like it's on the big occasions we come out and play. So sticking with the positives, we put in a good shift. I thought we played quite well. I thought Almiron had quite a good game. I thought Richie, who, to be honest, I've said has been dreadful since the start of this season, actually looked pretty good. Like Adam says, first half, the centre-backs were on Ronaldo. You know, he had a few errors, a few missed touches of the ball because we were so clamped on him to make sure he couldn't do anything that he actually didn't have a very good first half. And unfortunately, it was the mistake that made it 1-0 to them going into half-time. But we came out and we actually fought in the second half and really went for it, got the equaliser. And at that moment, I genuinely thought maybe we had a chance to get something out of that game. Unfortunately, it was another error that led to 2-1. And by that point, I think we were tired. So, yeah, the positives are I think we worked hard. We showed what we can do. We just need to do that a lot more often.
And I saw a still, I think it was when the fourth goal went in. Joe Willock was on the bench at the time. And it shows his reaction to when that happens. And his head just straight away just dropped. I think he actually put his head in his shirt. Was that sort of echoed around the team as well in terms of players' heads dropping as soon as the goals were going in?
I mean, as I say, the fact that they scored right before half-time was the worst possible moment for them to get a goal. I think if we'd come out at 0-0, heads would have certainly been higher. But in fairness, coming out into the second half, we really went for it at 1-1. But I would say at the moment when it went 2-1 Manchester United, I mean, we looked tired. And I'm sure we'll talk about it later on, about substitutions and what changes were made as the game went on. You know, we looked run ragged halfway through the second half. And as I said, when it was 2-1, then it went 3-1. There was no coming back. I think me and Adam pretty much agreed at the time that was game over. Even at 2-1, we looked tired, and they had the momentum with the Ronaldo second. So, and then the third goal they scored, I mean, was an absolute worldie. No one would have saved that one. So yeah, I think we needed more options from the bench. We needed fresher legs on the pitch. I think that was a decisive moment in the game where we kind of didn't have what was needed to get a goal back or really carry on.
And you mentioned substitutions once again. Adam, I'm going to come to you. 2 substitutions made in the game. But once again, it just seems like the timing of these changes aren't right. And the fact that he's not even using his full potential in terms of substitutions, it does worry me quite a bit. It worries me thinking how sort of fit these players are going to be. What did you think of the substitutions he made? And of course, the times that he made them at. Would you have changed anything as well? Maybe kept Willock on, not brought on Hendrick?
I mean, like, what subs we even got? Let's be honest. We were trying to get equalised against Man United. Who we got on the bench to score a goal? What, Gill, Murphy? These are attacking players on the bench. I mean, the squad depth's terrible. Without Wilson, we've got nothing going for it. So it doesn't matter what subs we make and when we make it in the game. Once we conceded that second goal, it was done. We had no one on the bench to change the game, and that's unfortunately how we are as a club. You've got a team that's got like £1 billion squad of world-class players. I mean, you can't compete with it, and it's that simple. We don't invest, and as a result, we don't have backup on the bench. It's just that simple.
And a player that I want to sort of bring to your guys' attention, I'm sure there has been a lot of sort of maybe some criticism about his performance. Freddie Woodman, you know, a goalkeeper who, you know, at times looks like he's got bags and bags of potential. But against Man United, I know the pressure's on you. I know there are a load of cameras watching you this game. You're playing against one of the best players ever. But it wasn't a performance that, you know, makes us think he's going to be an absolute superstar in the future. Rob, I'll come to you on this one. What did you think of Freddie Woodman's performance? Do you think he could bounce back from, you know, those mistakes that he made?
It's really tough to say. I was thoroughly disappointed for him, to be honest, yesterday. First few games he's played, I mean, there's nothing that was glaringly obvious to me. Maybe a couple of crosses, maybe not as vocal as we'd like him to be, maybe not quite the Premier League goalkeeper presence that you kind of need, that Dubravka have and that Darlow has a bit of. And I saw a few people saying, you know, he hasn't been great, we need to change the goalie. And to be honest, in our first few games, I've actually been thinking, you know, the defence has let him down quite heavily. And in today's game, I think there was one that a lot of people were watching. And really, I think Darlow was available to play, but we went with Woodman still. And, you know, to make that mistake with seconds to go before halftime, to fluff it right into Ronaldo's path for them to go 1-0 up. I mean, it's hard being a goalkeeper because you can have a great minutes, but the moment you make an error like that, you've had a disaster. And unfortunately, he hasn't quite had the start of the season that I wanted him to have. And I think at this point, after that mistake, and then again, the second goal, through his legs. Maybe he could have done better with that one. I really don't want to be too harsh. And again, I said this to Adam yesterday, and I'm sure he'll tell you what he thinks. But because he's a youngster, because he's been here so long, I want him to do well. But even at this point, after the first 4 games, I've got to say that maybe he needs more time in the Championship, because goalkeepers do generally get better with age. But I would say it's been a bit too soon, unfortunately.
I want to bring you guys' attention. We talked about him just briefly beforehand. Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he's the person that you really have to give the praise to. A couple of goals on his debut. Adam, I'll come to you on this one. First and foremost, such a privilege getting to watch Cristiano Ronaldo play. What do you think of his performance?
He actually did have a good performance, but with a player like Ronaldo, if you take your chances, that's all you need to do. Did he play well yesterday? Probably not, to be honest. The balls came to him for the first one. He was there. He's a good poacher. Second one was much better by him, though. He's gotten behind the defenders. It's a really good finish by him. But yeah, he didn't actually have a good game, I thought, yesterday. I thought the first time he did nothing, literally nothing. So yeah, I think the defence did a good job of closing down, literally man marking them. But yeah, I mean, Woodman, I know obviously we've speaking about him before, but I would generally drop him after that goal. It's an absolute howler. Straight at him, you've got to be catching that. Yes, he's still a young goalkeeper, but I mean, he's had a lot of experience in the Championship now. You should be saving those sort of shots. I mean, yeah, he's given Ronaldo the first goal, and that's given him the confidence throughout the game. He had a much better second half, but like I said before, Ronaldo did nothing in that first half, and that goal gave him the goal in the second half and a much better game. And as a result, it kind of stitched the team up really.
And, even then, 36 years of age, he might not have had the best game, but he still scored 2 goals. If he keeps this record up, he's going to be, once again, a very, very prolific striker now. Do you think he can keep this form up for the rest of the season?
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, 5-time Ballon d'Or winner. Yes, he's 36, but he's literally the best athlete in football history. So, for a fact, he's still got a few more years. And I mean, this season, I do expect him to get between 15 to 20 goals. I think that Man U team, I mean, you've got so many world-class attacking players that even though he doesn't make an awful lot of runs or gets involved with players much, all he has to do is be in the right place at the right time. He's got to score the goals because the team's going to make it for him.
And, looking forward now, we can think about the Leeds game, really, really important games coming up. I'm going to sort of Google just whilst you guys are talking next about our next 5 games. What do you think we can do to maybe change things around? And why is it playing 4 at the back? I'll come to Rob on this one.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, Liverpool are playing against Leeds today, so we'll see Leeds in action today ahead of our game coming up on Friday. I mean, you know what you're going to expect with Leeds. It's going to be an attacking side, and again, can we even do it? I don't know. What I'd love for us to do is actually go toe-to-toe with Leeds and let's just have a slobber knocker of a game Friday night kickoff. Who can score the most goals? The problem is, it would be Leeds who would score the most goals because we cannot defend, or at times we can't. We actually did do all right yesterday, as I say, against Manchester United. Unfortunately, what I think Bruce will do is go 5 at the back and try and counter-attack a Leeds side who really have not been in the Premier League very long. And to be honest, I think we should be looking at a game that we should be winning. But the fact is that I think we will probably defend with 5 at the back and try and counter-attack a team at home. I think is disappointing. What I want us to do is play 4 at the back, give Manquillo the start. We saw he did well against Manchester United when he came on. He got his goal. Maybe put Dummett left back with Fernandes and Lascelles centre back. And then let's actually try and put some wide players on. I thought Miggy looked good against Manchester United as well. St. Max is probably going to have to go up front again. So Joe Linton on the other wing. Again, we struggle with depth. So I'm not even sure what players you could pick for those 4 positions without Callum Wilson. Which again is a big shame that he's unavailable because I think he would do well in a game like this as well. But yeah.
So we've had a comment coming in from Lee Stewart, and it's quite a long one. But I'm going to assume from this comment he is a Man United fan, talking about the quality that they have at the back and up front as well. The signings of Varane, Sancho, and Ronaldo, it has brought the team up to another level. And I do actually want to talk a little bit about Man United's aspirations for the season. They're in the Champions League. Europa League finalists last season with the team that they had. Surely they've got to be looking at winning the league this season, right, Adam?
A bit of contender, definitely, but I still don't know. I still don't think they're going to do it this year, but with Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho, they're obviously looking to try and get back to the top. I mean, they're the signs that every Man U fan would have wanted them to make. So, yeah, a good investment by them in the summer. You expect them to be a contender. They'll definitely be up there, but I don't know. I like the way Chelsea and City have spent the money as well. It's going to be a tough one between those three, but yeah, they're definitely a contender, Man U.
I'm just looking at the next 5 games as well. Of course, we've got Leeds on Friday. Then the Saturday after, we're away at Watford. And then the next week after that, it is a away clash against Wolves. 3, I think, winnable games there, definitely. And then we've got Tottenham at home, Palace away, and then Chelsea at home after that. I'd say 3 of those 6 games have surely got to be winnable. You've got to look at Leeds. I think you've got to look at Watford and Wolves as well. These next 3 games, I know it's very early in the season, but they're 6-pointers, aren't they, Rob?
Yeah, they are. Again, it's so terrible because we're only 4 games into the season and we're already talking about games that we need to win. But that's unfortunately the way it's going to be for us every season while we're still under the current ownership. And again, there was chance for Bruce out at the Manchester United game as well. He's just... and I don't know if we'll talk about this as well, his comments in his most recent interview when he was asked by one of the reporters whether he'd been on holiday recently and he didn't want to answer it because it had nothing to do with anything. Well, I think it does, to be honest. It definitely does. I mean, we are a team who are in trouble. As you say, are coming up into must-win games every week, and we've got a manager who decided to go on his jollies when we should be working on the pitch, you know? So, yeah, I think Wolves haven't had a great start. Watford haven't had a great start. And Leeds is one of them teams where I think it could possibly go either way on the day. So, yeah, definitely 3 games we need to be trying to win for sure.
Another comment from Lee now, this is about the takeover rumours that I think get swirled around. Very frequently, I think even in this last week, there's been some stuff coming out about like potential new companies being made so the takeover can get pushed through. But he said, do you think Mike Ashley will sell the club to a rich consortium? I think if the club is sold, they have a better chance. Newcastle have a better chance to buy quality players and then begin a charge for European football. I'm going to be completely honest. Yeah, like he is correct. I mean, depending on which owner we get and how much they want to invest. But as daft as it sounds, I think another couple of seasons under Rafa and we would have been well under our way. Adam, what do you think? You know, we're not too sure what's going on with the takeover, really, but it would definitely start a charge for European football, wouldn't it?
I mean, in terms of the takeover, I don't like talking about it, to be honest. The last 15 years, there's been rumours about it like every single week for the last 10 years. I mean, I don't care. I really don't care. I'll be at the games regardless, so regardless what happens to the club. Obviously, everyone wants to make Ashley go, and that's just common sense, but yeah, in terms of the takeover, I just try not to think about it. Really, I just want to get on with the season, make sure we stay up first, and then think about that sort of thing in the summer. But I don't know, and I don't really care. That's my kind of answer there.
It's like a bad memory that haunts us, isn't it? Rob, what do you reckon? Or is it something that it's a bit of a touchy subject for yourself as well?
No, I mean, again, I always listen to it. I try to not have an opinion on it these days because whenever I do think it's going to happen, it seems to not. So I listen out for what's going on. But I mean, in terms of Europe, I think that's light years away from where we are at the moment, unfortunately. But what I will say, and I will agree with, is, you know, when Rafa Benitez was in, and I know I don't want to talk about him too much because it is old news now, and I know Newcastle fans are sick of hearing it, but it was the same ownership, but it's somehow, way, shape, or form, he managed to bring the fans together and actually build a side that seemed capable of possibly pushing on to something new. You know, the way it feels right now, it feels so bottom of the barrel in terms of what we can bring in and what we can't. You know, it was only 3 years ago that Rafa was potentially pushing for top 10, and then possibly, you know, if he'd had the 40 million was spent on Joe Linton, who knows where we could have gone. And again, that's the same owner. You know, that wasn't even that long ago. But then somehow, within, again, a few years, Steve Bruce has managed to pull all the life and fun out of everything. He's playing tactics we don't understand. And I just think his mannerisms and what he says in his interviews just do not bring any confidence to us as fans for what he plans to do. He likes to big up the other team and play down us, which, you know, is not what you want to hear as a fan. And I know we probably are the underdog in a lot of games. But, let's hear some confidence and some belief in your own side. That would be nice.
So he got asked that in an interview, didn't he? Someone asked him, why do you always play down Newcastle United and really big up the other teams? It doesn't really put much fear into the opposition. And I can't remember what his answer was, but I remember it just being something absolutely crazy. Something as well. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, he tried to, like every question he gets, unfortunately, tried to just play it off as something that, I didn't realise I was doing that. I would never do it intentionally. And yet he continues to do it since then. So,
Something else I've noticed as well about Bruce, he hates a long question. He'll always sort of cut in before the end of the question. Every single time I've seen him do an interview, he does do that. It's an absolute nightmare. But yeah, I was going to say something that I just wanted to bring you guys' attention to was, this season we have scored a few goals, but we've also conceded a lot of goals. What's it, 4 games now? 12 goals conceded. We're averaging, 3 goals a game conceded?
Yeah.
What's going on? Like, is it something to do with the defence? Is it poor goalkeeping? Is it just a whole sort of squad-wide thing? Adam, what do you reckon?
Well, that's the 5 at the back, obviously, because we don't have the ball ever. So how are we expected to not concede goals when we don't even have the ball? I mean, I don't get it. Yes, the Man U, Leeds and Friday, I actually think a 5 back will work well against them. But it likes a Southampton at home. I mean, West Ham home. Why are we playing 5 back against these sort of teams? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help that the defenders that we have are rubbish. The defenders have been awful. I honestly said this a few weeks ago. I still think we have the worst defence in the league. We've conceded the most goals in the league now. Norwich obviously conceded 10. Or 11 actually, so the Arsenal one. But yeah, it's not good enough at all. 4-2-2-4, that's the goals we've conceded so far. I mean, yeah, it is shocking. It's a relegation standard defending. I mean, yes, I think it's a lot of individual mistakes. I think I've realised now in 3 matches that it's either the end of the half we concede the goals. So it's the 45th minute against Villa, the 90th minute against Southampton, the 45th minute yesterday. I mean, I don't know what it is. Our heads just seem to drop off towards the end of the half, and it's just not good enough at all. Defensively, we're an absolute shambles, so why not change the formation to a more attacking style? Because a 4-back would work with the likes of Willock and Alma one, because they're just so out of position at times. But in terms of Friday, I would keep the 5-back. I think the 5-back work well against Leeds.
5 at the back would work well against Leeds. Lee is in the chat again. Hello to Lee. He's saying, if you could pick any manager in the world to replace Steve Bruce, who would it be? So any manager ever, I'll assume here. But we'll go for, to make it interesting, we'll go for managers who are, possibly on the market, realistic moves. Rob, I'll come to you first. Who do you reckon?
Again, when you say realistic, it's really tough. I mean, I'd love to see. Well, I know he's got his potential connections to Bobby Robson. I'd love to see Mourinho if he's ever available. But again, I think he would be the manager who would possibly look at if we had this takeover. But I mean, right here and right now, yeah, I would honestly, I think I would genuinely prefer for us to let Bruce go and let Graham Jones have a go for a bit. I think that would be the quickest and easiest way to do it. It means that Bruce is out. And I don't know if Ashley would have to pay Jones any more than he's already on, but that will be a quick fix. And then past that, people have talked about Eddie Howe. I think I liked what he did at Bournemouth, but again, how would he do with us? I mean, a manager to come in will instantly be given no funding and no resources. So I think it's more of who can we get. It's who would want to come in is the biggest problem we're going to have.
Adam, coming to you next. What do you reckon before we give the answers?
But I would like Frank Lampard. He's available right now. I would even give him a pair of boots and tell him to get on the pitch and play centre mid. I still think he can play a season with like Jeff Hendrick because it's that bad. But yeah, I would like Lampard as a manager. I think he's a great leader. Obviously, he's a Champions League winner. I mean, yeah, I think it'd be someone great having on the dressing room. Yes, he's quite an experienced manager, but I think over time, both the season or so, he'd be a really good one at Newcastle. But again, would he come? I don't know. But listen, he hasn't got a job right now, so we try and coax him over maybe. But yeah, I would like to see Lampard. I want to see someone different. I don't want to see like Eddie Howe because the sort of managers have been having for years, really.
Yeah, I honestly definitely agree with you. I'd say Frank Lampard's my number one choice if Steve Bruce was ever to leave. Rob, you talk about not a lot of funding for these managers. I think Frank Lampard's a fantastic example of
I mean, I'd look. Yeah, well, what I would say is I definitely agree with giving something new a go. I think a lot of teams have been turning that way. Obviously, Lampard's done what he did at Derby, and then Chelsea, Rooney's now doing what he's doing. See Steven Gerrard up at Rangers, and I think just people are sick of the roulette wheel of the same old managers just walking in and out of Premier League jobs. Look at Steve Bruce, Mark Hughes, Pardew. Those kind of guys have been around the mill for so long, and there just doesn't seem to be any new, real, like up and coming. I suppose maybe these guys are the new up and coming managers. It's just to kind of suddenly be thrown into a team so quickly. But I guess that's kind of where we are. So yeah, I would agree. I think it may be worth taking a chance on something new rather than just revisiting the table of same old guys.
Yeah, I think that is definitely something we could all agree on. Just maybe something different. And I would say Frank Lampard's probably the man to go for. Just before we do finish the podcast, we've got to give our little preview for the Leeds game. Hopefully it will be a win. Adam, I'll come to you first. A little preview for the game and then a score prediction as well.
I expect Newcastle to be a lot better against Leeds. I think it's home Leeds on Friday night. I think the crowd will be up for it, and I think the players will be up for it as well. I think they'll be disappointed from the result yesterday. They'll be feeling like they want to make a point against Leeds. But defensively, I still think we're going to be a shambles in a match, but actually going to go for a shocking result here. Newcastle 4, Leeds 3. I'm actually going to go for a 7-goal thriller. I really think Newcastle will be up for this game. I don't know what it is about, but I really expect us to get a win. I think it's going to happen, but we'll see. A bit of a mental scoreline, but listen, Friday night football, I've got a feeling it's going to be a classic.
Adam, I always love your optimism in your prediction. Rob, we'll come to you next. A little preview of this game, and then your score prediction as well, please.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. As you say, Friday night game. Finish work at 5, off into the town for a few drinks, and then up the road to the stadium. I think the fans are definitely going to be up for it. Again, like Adam said, having played well against Manchester United and not being able to take something back home, I'm hoping they're going to want to go out there and make up for that. And as we know, Leeds love to attack, so I'm hoping we will do the same. And I'm also going to put a big scoreline on it. I'm going to go 3-3. I want to see lots of goals. I just feel like, again, Newcastle can't seem to get a win over the line. So I'm thinking it'll be a draw, but hopefully there'll be a lot of goals in it.
Nice. I think I'm going to agree with Rob and say it's going to be a draw. I'd like to think 2-2. It should be an absolute cracking game. Leeds like to play attacking football. We like to play counter-attacking football. So it will be quite a big meeting of the minds coming up on Friday. But let's hope for a big win for Newcastle and get that goal difference back down and 3 points on the table as well. But yes, thank you so much, everyone who tuned into this podcast. It has been an absolute cracker where we did see CR7's return, and of course a couple of goals were witnessed by Adam and Rob themselves. Just before we go, guys, anything to say?
Well, enjoy the game on Friday. I mean, we've got to get result really. If we lose this game, I'm going to be in some serious trouble. But I would see how things go. But I'm missing it's Leeds away, or Leeds at home, sorry, on Friday. It's going to be a cracking game, and I can't wait to be back in the stadium.
Yeah, Rob, what about yourself?
Yeah, enjoy the week. Champions League's back on this week, isn't it? So we can watch a bit of quality football before we watch Newcastle on the Friday night. Hopefully St. Max can stick a few in the net for it, and we can go out celebrating on the Friday night as well.
Of course, we won't mind a night on the town again. But yeah, thanks so much everyone for tuning in. It's been an absolute cracker. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.